The church at large is not doing a great job with sexuality and relationships.
They want you to make babies. They require relationships and sexuality.
Yeah, they're just not doing a great job with it because the church's sexual ethic is rooted in shame. And you
Yeah.
can't have a healthy relationship with yourself sexually if your belief about your sexuality is rooted in shame.
I want to pause there because whoever's watching this, I need you to have run it back. Just run it back. Hear it again. You cannot
Yeah,
healthy
yeah,
sexuality that is rooted in shame.
you
Nor
can't.
can you have a good relationship with yourself, with your lover, with others, or your God if it is rooted in shame. It is an impossibility
Yeah,
because shame is not guilt. And I think that sometimes people get it fucked up because I'm like, guilt is I did something wrong. Shame is I am wrong,
mm-hmm,
as in there's something wrong with me.
mm-hmm.
If you believe with your whole heart and all 10 of your toes that something is wrong with you, you can't have a good relationship with yourself, which means that you have to now hide in every relationship that you're in. And then sometimes we use sex to cover up the shame. But then we still feel shame about the sex we just had. So you can't win.
Yeah. Yeah, you feel shame about being sexual and then you feel guilt because you acted on your sexuality. So you get the shame and the guilt because you're absolutely right. They're different. And you get both of them with the way that it's set up.
Two for one. I was going to ask you like how the pathologization of desire within Black communities hinder sexual freedom. Like, what's the steps to undo this? The step to undo it then is what you've already said. It must be based in discussing harm as opposed to shame, and let the harm be the sin.
Right. And if we deal with it from the perspective of harm, everything would change because we cover our predators in church. Like that's why predators go to church. They find cover in church. So if we actually dealt with harm, then the creepy uncle that be filling on all the kids would actually get addressed in the Black family instead of telling the kids, "Oh, just stay away from him." No, get that nigga out of the house because he's harmful. But instead, you shame the kids.
For dressing the way that they dress, it's always go put on some pants. You ain't wearing no brassiere.
We've been working in reverse.
It's all kinds of things as opposed to let me go on ahead and get this person up out of here.
We've been working in
So
reverse.
then how do you define sexual liberation? Given the givens, like how do you define it and what does it look like for Black individuals?
Sexual liberation looks like doing what makes you come alive sexually in a way that does not cause harm to you or anyone else. So, sexual liberation could look like celibacy.
Okay.
Sexual liberation could look like polyamory. Sexual liberation could look like, asexual people can be sexually liberated to live out their asexual lives. So we're not dictating to anybody. Like it's not a space where, oh, sexual liberation, just fuck everybody every day, because that's not even what some people want to do.
Yeah.
Like we
They know a
assume,
lot of work.
yes, yes. And then some
That's
people,
the sex worker. They know.
right, some people need to have a more of a stronger emotional connection to people in order to like enjoy sex with them, right? And then you have people who,
Demisexuals.
right, demisexuals, right? And then you have people who just do it for the fun of it. They just enjoy the physical satisfaction of having sex, and then when it's
I like to
over,
think of them as trisexuals. They just want to try it.
there you go, right? So whatever makes you come alive in a way that does not cause harm to you or anyone else looks like sexual liberation to me. And our sexual ethic is rooted in consent, honesty, and mutuality.
I want to take you back because you spoke about like this self-love, and I want to know, what does self-love look like in the way that you define it, in the way that you preach it?
Self-love looks like getting in touch with how you feel. First
Mm.
of all, like what are you feeling right now? And do you like that feeling? That's why I love the mood chart, because most people really don't take time to take an inventory of their feelings.
Sure don't.
And then particularly, for black boys, we're not allowed to experience the range of emotions.
No, I think it's just anger and happy, right?
That's it. We're not allowed to be sad. And I truly believe that's part of the reason why our lifespan is so short, because we walk around with so much suppressed emotion that we're not allowed to express. And then it just comes out as anger. So for me, self-love has really looked like getting in touch with my emotions, like being able to say, I'm sad, or that hurt my feelings, and sit with that and process that instead of suppressing it and allowing it to eat us up from the inside. Because whether you honor your emotions or not, they exist. And how you process them matters. And if you don't process them, they're going to deal with you. I really encourage people to get in touch with how you feel. Like when you go to your church, how does that make you feel? What aspect of it makes you feel which way? Like, what do you like about it? What part of it makes you uncomfortable? You should sit with that. I tell people all the time, your intuition is divine. I tell people all the time, you need to go with the God in your gut. God is in your gut. Feel that. Act on that. When your gut says something, trust it. That's God in there.
Ooh. And that would require people to stop walking around disembodied.
Absolutely. You got
So
to
many
be
of us
connected.
we're not connected at all to our body. We don't know what we feel. Half the people don't even know when they're not even hungry anymore. We are disconnected from thirst.
Yeah.
We're disconnected from tiredness, or rather, capitalism has been put as the through fare between us and our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Can you afford to eat today? Now becomes a question. Can you afford to be tired?
Mm-hmm.
Quite frankly, it makes me think about like the larger or the more recent sort of conversations that have been happening on social media. Particularly, like I think about like B. Simone.
This is gonna be real controversial, but I don't care. I gotta get this off my chest, and I gotta let y'all know I cannot go into 2025 with people who are still looking forward to their daily horoscope. I'm over here carrying around sage. Y'all still got rose quartz. I get it. Rose quartz. This rock gonna bring me my husband. I get it. I have been there. But when you pray, all them rocks, all them rocks and herbs. Do you know the Bible? Yeah. I'm leaving that in 2024.
Like what she must feel about, and not just her, right? Because I don't know this woman, but like people who are sort of in that church bully sort of realm,
Mm-hmm.
what must they feel about themselves to speak and teach and preach the way that they do? What must be going on for them? Like, how are they even connected to their own intuition, to the God within themselves, the God in their gut? If the way that they present themselves is the way that they present themselves.
Most likely not. It takes a lot of work to get in touch with the God in your gut. That doesn't just happen overnight. Like if you've been raised in church and taught to process the world a particular way, you don't like all of a sudden get in touch with your intuition overnight. So a lot of times these people aren't in touch with themselves, but you don't know to what extent, because you can't really get in somebody's brain, but you can see how they move throughout the world and get an inclination of it if you've got any level of discernment, right? And in order to operate in that space, there has to be a level of disembodiment, because I mean, you're not allowed to be. Everything is about like, what you do.
So it becomes all about a performance.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very performative. Very performative.
Do we have a responsibility to call them back? These people who are so entrenched in the performance. Like for those of us who are not, for those of us who are embodied, do we?
No,
No?
no, no. I think we have to get out of that mentality that we need to save everybody. That's what fundamentalism taught us. You got to go contend for the faith. You got to go tell everybody about Jesus. And then if you don't, then if you deny me before man, I'll deny you in front of my Father. You know, we got that playing
That's the
around.
thing that sort of like popped up in my head, because it's like, well, you're supposed to go tell it on the mountain. I mean, that's what
Live
they
it. They will know you are my disciples by how you love each other. Live it.
Oh.
Live it. Live it. And then when you
So
live
don't
it,
talk
people
about
will
it,
see
think
it.
about it. Because that is the thing that will tell everybody about it, the way that you're living.
I'll put it to you like this. I really try to be a decent person wherever I go. I try to be, approachable and accessible, and try to be kind to people wherever I go. That's just something that I was raised to be. I'm proud to be married to a woman who is the same way. That's how my mom raised me as well, right? So we went to the Church of God in Christ convocation in St. Louis over a decade ago as vendors. Because I have a clothing business where we were selling men's accessories like pocket squares and stuff like that. So this was our first time going to a Kojic convocation to be a vendor. And Kojic convocation is like, it's a scene. It's a whole situation. And church people don't have a great reputation in the service industry. In case you didn't know, like when people see the church crowd coming, they be like, oh God, here come the church crowd. Right. So me, my wife and my mom were there as vendors. And one day for lunch, we went down the street to this place where there were a lot of people from the convocation there who were getting food and shopping as well. Mm-hmm. So as we were checking out of the line, the person who was working the cash register was like, are you guys here with this event? And we said, well, I mean, like, yeah, we're here. We're not a part of the organization. We're vendors. And she said, I could tell it was something different about y'all. Y'all so nice. Y'all so pleasant to be around. Thank y'all for being so nice. I didn't go in there and tell them about Jesus. I just wanted to be kind. But we stood out in a church setting because we were nice and pleasant.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
Because it says a lot about, it says a lot about the church folk. If people are like, you must gird your loins.
Yeah.
I like, it sort of reminds me of that scene in The Devil Wears Prada, where Stanley Tucci's character is just like, she's on her way, gird your loins. And I'm just like, well, why should the loins be girded when Christians are coming if they are practicing what they're preaching?
Exactly. And if you live it, you don't have to go shout it from the mountaintop. I spread my message because that's my job. That's my vocation. That's my calling. Right? When I'm not preaching or teaching or creating content, I'm not walking around on the street telling everybody about Jesus. Like, that's not what I do at all.
I don't go around telling everybody about therapy either. I just in the way that I be living.
Exactly.
And sometimes I'm like, really, I shouldn't say anything when somebody asks. That's what I've learned.
I'd rather you not know I'm a preacher when I meet you in person, because I don't want you to code switch around me because you think you have to act a certain way around the preacher. Mm-hmm. I just want you to get to know me for who I am. Now that becomes more difficult these days because people are beginning to know me before I get there. So we working on that, but still for a long time it was like, nah, don't introduce me as a preacher. I'm Christian. It's good to meet you. What's the deal? Tell me your story. And then you live it. And then people are drawn to the divinity within you because of how you live it. So I believe we have to stop trying to save everybody. Like Project Pat said, don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her.
So we are wrapping it up. And I just want to get like your final word on, what do you desire for yourself? What do you desire for the folk who are listening or watching in? What do you desire for them? What's the word that you want to leave them with?
This might be real simple, but this is just the truth. At the end of the day, I want everybody to be okay. I just desire for everybody to be okay. Can we just have a world where everybody is okay?
I want us to. Honestly, I feel I'm trying to work myself out of a job, and the church could help if they took the harm approach. If they took harm as sin approach, that might actually help me work out of a job. I got me a second job lined up. I know I am going to open something. I feel like I could tell you, and y'all keep my secret on the internet.
You're gonna keep your
Like I
job.
want to open a French toast house. I like French toast, and
You
use
can.
some different breads. Have you ever used ice cream in your batter?
I haven't. Wow.
You got to watch it because that thing will burn. But I'm trying to work myself out of a job a little bit, and it feels like this could be the way that actually helps me work myself right up out of that job. Because if we all got whole and healed,
Yeah, it will be
we
beautiful.
all was able to sort of move beyond the shame that we've been given as a gift. If we were able to return to sender and live a life that is about harm reduction wherever
Mm.
we can, harm to ourselves as well as harm to others, I think that we could actually get there.
I agree. It just takes a lot of work.
And we have to be willing to take that accountability and do that work.
Yeah.
But tell the people what you got coming up next and where they can find you.
Yeah, so I do a lot of content on Instagram and TikTok for as long as it's still available in the United States. We're gonna see how that happens. So you can catch me at the Kristian A Smith. It's Christian with a K, Kristian A Smith. And then if you want to connect with our community, like the faith community is located on the internet. People always ask me, I want to come to your church. I want to come to your church. Well, we on the internet, right? It's 99% online. So we have gatherings throughout the month. We do live podcast recordings. I go live. We have different connection groups where we in there talking and cutting up and learning and laughing all day. So if you would like to get connected with us, just go to thefaithcommunity.org and you can click subscribe to the TFC ecosystem. So that's thefaithcommunity.org and just get plugged in. It's a whole world in there. Like it's a vibe.
I don't know. I feel like I might be going back to church.
Come through.
I just I don't even have to wear my Sunday's best. You mean I could just show up in my bathrobe and just sit down and watch?
Yeah.
That sounds like my sort of thing because if it requires pants, my answer is usually no.
I feel you. Yeah, you can do 99% of the stuff that we do from your home on the sofa. Like, yeah, it's real chill. It's real convenient. And it's also real challenging because it's empowering. And with great power comes great responsibility.
Thank you so much for being here,
Thank you for
for
having me.
preaching this good word, for giving us tea, and really for giving us so much more to think about, especially as we continue our inner dialogues around desire. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for a little bit of unfiltered advice, and I won't give it to you kind. I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this, friend. Be nice, be better. Why don't we work on actually reducing that harm, like Christian told us? Some of y'all want to be Christ-like, but Christ was kinder than y'all. Some of y'all be saying some shit to some people. The way you treat people, the way you say things, you are working hard to be an asshole. And you shouldn't have to work so hard, friend, because kindness is free. Being kind doesn't cost you. Being an asshole costs everybody. And what I heard him say is reduce harm. So if you are one of those people that just be like, that's just the way I say things. If you're one of those people that be hitting it with well, sometimes the truth hurts. I'm like, yeah, sometimes the truth hurts, but you are going out of your way to make sure that it hurts. So this is me telling you to consider intent versus impact. What is your intention? Because if you're being very honest with yourself, if every time somebody talks to you, they walk away and they feel shitty and harmed, then the problem is you, friend. It's not what the fuck you said. because somebody else has told them the same thing and managed not to be a jackass about it. So if you and your God are interested in continuing to be a jackass, please stay inside where the people can't see you and don't have to experience you. Let the conversation flow between you and your God alone and leave everybody else the fuck out of it. Please. That's some of my unfiltered advice. Now, for those of you who got something kind to say, remember, discourse, not disrespect, in my comment section, because I will block a style, block a style. Y'all already know what it is. I will block you with prejudice. If you go low, I'll go to hell. Don't take me there. I have a ticket already geared up. Meanwhile, y'all already know what it is. Make sure that you like, share, comment, all of that good stuff. Invite a friend. Have a conversation about this video together. And I hope to see you next time. Bye.